Hello, this is Professor Tolyat from City University of New York. At this video, I want to show you how you can find the smallest number between a sequence of integers. So, please pay attention that at this lecture, I don't want to tell you what is the array and how you can use the array. We don't want to use array. Here, we want to ask the user to enter 5 integers, and after that the between among of these 5 integers we want to find the smallest one, and at the end we want to print the sum of all 5 integers and the smallest number. So here, by using the for statement, we want to read all 5 numbers, and then by if statement we want to compare them together to find the smallest number, and then we want to write the result. So same as always, we want to create the folder and then the file inside of that. So for creating the folder, you should create the new file, and the name, for example, is sum, for example, and min gwgcc as a tool chain, and then finish. And yes, here is the sum. Right click and then click on source file, and a name we can give the same name, .cpp. Don't forget about .cpp. Finish. Now we want to write our program. So same as always, the first line would be started by introducing the library. So the library is started by sharp include IO stream. It is the basic library that we can have using namespace std semicolon, and then the function, the first, the only all program could be include many function, but at least it include the main function that it is integer, int main. And then now we started with brace, and then inside of the main function what we would have, we have some, we should, here is the place for declare the variable. So imagine that we have a variable that the name of that is x, and the data type of that is integer, and the other one, so x is the variable, is the number, integer number that user supposed to enter. And then the other variable that we will have is, for example, the smallest. We want to find the smallest one, that it is integer. Then because all of the numbers they are integer, so the sum of them would be integer. And then so now we have, so all things that we need are here, all variables that we need, the number, integer number that user will enter, and one thing that we need the smallest one, and another thing is the addition of all of the integers. Now for loop, for using the for loop, first you start by writing for, and then inside of the parentheses you have 3 components. The first component is the you should initialize it. You want to say the range started from here, from this number to that number. So for the for loop we need to initialization, and we need to give the range. So here we are using, we have a counter here that the counter is I, this counter is integer because we want to make the iteration. So the first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, so they are the counter should be the integer because they are the whole value. It is started from, if it is started from, for example, 1, so the last thing that we can have is 5. If it is started from 0, it should be 4, because how many iterations we will have? 5 iterations. Why 5? Because we want to enter 5 integer number, and we want to compare 5 times with the smallest one. and uh, it increased one by one. So it's same as you are writing that I, so you assign I plus 1 to that, or you are writing I plus pulse. And then for loop it itself has some statements that you write them inside, you enclose them between the two braces, and you want to write, you want to announce the 5 times you want to ask the user to enter the variable. Please enter an integer value. And then after writing this, you want to go to the next line and finish. Okay, 5 times from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times, 5 iterations we have. So 5, whatever inside of this, inside whatever that enclosed between two braces, 5 times would be repeated. And then so 5 times we will ask the user to enter the variable, and then 5 times we should read the variable that user entered. Now we need to calculate the sum. Sum at first is 0, so we initialize the sum to the 0 here, and then my battery, and then okay, so we initialize sum by 0, and then sum that it is 0 plus by the x, the value that so first the sum is 0, so it is 0. Then we read the first variable, so the first variable comes here plus the 0. Now the sum is this. When we read the second variable, x is the second variable and second number that the user entered, and so the first value comes here, the second value comes here, the third value comes here, and the sum would be updated until the fifth value. And after that, so we calculated the sum. Now we need to calculate we need to compare them together. So we are saying that if I is equal to 1, then the smallest is the x. So if the user enter only 1, so x is the smallest one. If not, we will have we should calculate the rest of them. And then we want to compare the variables. We want to compare our values. So we are saying that if x is less than the smallest number that we have, then whatever here we did, we are saying that we have the smallest number, that right now the smallest number is x. The first one comes to the x, and then we compare with x. Then the other one, so still that x, the previous x is inside of the smallest variable, and now this x is the new one. We compare with the new one. Okay, because the iteration is changed. Okay, and then that's it. Now out of the for loop, we need to print the result. The sum is, so it is the sum is that it is the string that we will have here, and then whatever that calculated inside of the sum variable, we will put it here. So we have the sum is whatever inside of the sum, and we enclose it between two, because this is a string, so we enclose it between two double quotations, and at the end we are using end L because of going to the next line. We want to print the next line in the we want to print the next result in the next line, and the next result is yes, another string that we have, the smallest is smallest and oh yeah, that's it, and return 0. So here we are saying that the smallest, we want to print exactly this is the smallest, and we should save it. Click on save, click on hammer for building, and then we run. When we run, we will see that we are asking to enter a value. So 5 times we will see this sentence. So for example 6, enter. For example 3, enter. For example 7, enter. For example 0, enter. For example 4, enter. Yes, the result, the sum is 20, and the smallest is 0, the smallest value that I have entered. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video.